Good afternoon and welcome everybody to this special Sunday afternoon program in which we will be having a discussion about making the adhitthana, or the resolutions for the upcoming 3 months of the Rains Retreat. I'm sure that more than one person will say something that they learned from a sutta today. In the meantime, let us start in the usual way by taking 20 minutes of silent meditation together. So I won't be giving you guided meditation, just inviting us all to come together with our balanced posture, aware of the body, enjoying the connection with our companions in cyberspace, joined together for meditation. Good afternoon, friend. Good afternoon, friends. This is I'm speaking to the mic here. Can you hear me in the back? All right. This is the Sunday program that happens one time a year when the Sangha of Dhammadharini, as well as the Buddhist monastic communities all over the world, are preparing to enter into the 3 months of their Vasa retreat. Present here in this space, there is Ayatotaloka, Aya Suchita, Bhante Jayasara, myself, Aya Sobhana, and then Navis Katchayana is here. Navis Dhammavara is with us in spirit, but she is still packing her bags to be ready to go in a few hours to the Aranya Bodhi Hermitage, which is going to be her dwelling for the Vasa. We also have Navis Katchayana and Navis Panyavimutti here. We have Anagarika Tavira, Anagarika Panyavimutti. I just would like you to be novices. and
we hope in September.
But I won't be novice Kachayana even in September.
Possibly, yes, this coming up this September. We have two visitors here at the moment who are possible long-termers. Of course, we never know what might happen. But Sophie, who some of our friends have met, is here now after having gone and visited her old buddies on the East Coast. Now she come back to us with the intention of taking a longer period of monastic life immersion with us. And then we have our
Anagarika precepts for the Vasa.
Yes, and we have Cameron, who is a new visitor, who we hope is going to be staying with us for a while.
Thank you for your tech support, Cameron.
I want to introduce everybody, and I'm not going to introduce all the people who are here online. We sometimes do that, but not today.
2 members who are joining the Vasa arriving tomorrow. Ajahn Pramawara and Samaneri Anuvidita, with us at Heart in Spirit and on their way here.
The theme of today's discussion was about the adhitthana, or the determination or the resolution that people make when entering the Vasa. There's one type of adhitthana that the monastics should make because it's spelled out in our Vinaya, and that is making a determination about the place where we will reside during the 3 months of the Vasa. For those in this space here and those incoming, it would be either here at our monastery or at our hermitage out on the Sonoma coast. There are further adhitthanas that we make together in terms of making our communal practice during this time more meaningful. All throughout the year, monastics may be doing a lot of traveling, teaching here and there, giving retreats here and there, visiting various monastic centers, or they may be involved in other kinds of work, service work on behalf of the Buddhism. And so there's a certain amount of coming and going. But during the Vasa, a particular group of monastics who have taken up this determination to stay together have a chance to be really close for 3 months, living together, practicing together, discussing the Dhamma together. We undertook this year to have a particular theme of Chittanupasana, are the mindful contemplation of the states of mind, mindful awareness of states of mind, and as a sort of a subset of that, the idea of giving up craving. Giving up craving is what the Buddha laid out in his explanation of the second noble truth. Craving, which is the cause of dukkha, is something that arises with all the different contacts of the senses and all of the different, any point that you could look at within the way that we experience our reality, whether it be thinking, cognizing, planning, the bare contact, the bare perception, all of those stages, at any one of those stages, craving can arise. And it's that craving which is leading us onward to another existence, to go around and around on this merry-go-round of samsara. But it's also possible at any one of those moments to not pick up the craving, so that the eye is just the eye. The visible thing is just a visible thing. The contact is just a contact. Perception is just a perception. Feeling is just a feeling. Volitional formations or decisions or ideas, they're just thoughts, just decisions, just ideas, and they can be experienced without the craving. That would be what we call the end of dukkha. And so our theme, our idea, this is a very ambitious theme. I don't know when I have had the sense of undertaking something this ambitious. Can we see how many mind moments are we able to notice over 3 months? How many gazillion mind moments do we have over 3 months? How many of them can we even notice? Can we even be awake for? Can we even know what's going on? And how many times can we even know clearly that some craving has popped up, or that the craving is released and let go of? It's also very common during the 3 month of the Vasa for those householders who are connected with monastics, who appreciate monastics and have some kind of ongoing relationship, whether they're visiting the temple, reading books, listening to Dhamma talks, going on retreats or whatever, that they've got some kind of a feeling and a connection to the monastic sangha. Then out of sympathy for the 3 months of the Vasa, they may undertake some kind of adhitthana, some kind of decision. Excuse me one moment, we're taking a technical break.
No, we're good.
Too much distraction. Some of the ways that are traditional would be, if a householder doesn't already have this practice, if they decide on the lunar days, whether it be the full moon, the new moon, and the quarter moon, that would be approximately 4 times in the lunar month, they might vow to undertake 8 precepts. So in addition to the 5 precepts of morality that we hope everybody is observing, that they would undertake additional renunciate practices to cut down on entertainment and luxury and sensual pleasures, to have a quiet day of meditation, listening to Dhamma talks and something like that. Or it could be that somebody is taking a practice of supporting their whichever monastic they're affiliated with by visiting the temple and so forth. Or somebody might undertake to increase the amount of meditation that they practice on a daily basis, a formal meditation. Or somebody may realize there's something in their life which is unnecessary complication that could be abandoned and could be let go of. So somebody who, I'll just give a random example. Somebody who likes to play cards could give up playing cards for the duration of the Vasa. So that's a little bit like Lent. You just take something and either give up something which is not helping you, or you undertake something which would help you if you began to practice that's something new, or if you became more consistent, more committed, and more conscious about that practice. I have the idea that resolutions have a bit of a bad reputation. We like to mock them and laugh at people who make resolutions because maybe they resolve to, I guess in January, a lot of people decide to exercise more, and they all join the gym and they pay the fee to join a gym or an exercise club. And then within 3 weeks, they ran out of effort for that, and they're not going anymore. Or during the beginning of Lent, somebody undertakes some kind of very ambitious goal of giving something up, but they don't have a good enough plan to support themselves in their aspiration, and so then they lose it. So we may say that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, if that's all it is. I'm going to briefly point out one of the Buddhist lists, which would be 4 ways that you could possibly make your adhitthana, make your resolutions, your wholesome decisions more likely to succeed. And then I'd like to have some conversation with those of us here and those in the chat room to know if there are any resolutions that you're undertaking right now and you'd like to come up to the altar and declare your vow. What is it that you vow to do during the 3 months of this Vasa? And what would be the keys to success in being able to make a vow, make a decision, and to have it be something which truly is onward leading us to spiritual success, to realization, and to awakening. So here's my list of 4. These are the 4 iddhipadas, the 4 bases of power, bases of success, bases of spiritual success. All of these are described in the sutta in terms of if you want to become a very spiritually empowered master of the Dhamma, you would develop samadhi, or concentrated meditation power, based on these 4 factors. One is called chanda. That means the intention, the purpose. In a way, this is like the decision, the will, saying, yes, I want to do this. And then the second thing is virya, which is what's giving strength to your decision. And then the third one is called chitta, which means mind. In this case, the chitta that they're referring to, as I understand it, is the higher chitta of developing meditation. So there is something that a person who does not practice, never takes time for meditation, never takes a moment to quiet the mind, never takes a moment to just make oneself still and to discern or observe what's arising with them, their efforts would not be effective. But as a result of coming to stillness, developing meditation, it can include developing like the boundless meditations, like the Brahma Viharas, or any kind of meditation practice can result in supporting the higher mind. That's the mind which is calm, clear, balanced. This morning we were talking about the contrast between the mind that's stressed out and agitated and restless, and the mind which is fallen into sloth and torpor or into depression. So in between the stillness of depression or sleep or unconsciousness and the agitation of being stressed out, there is a completely different state in the middle that has got a lot of energy, a lot of strength, a lot of, you could even say fitness, like with exercise. Karina is involved with physical health and physical well-being, and you know that the aerobic fitness and the physical well-being of the body is not at all anything to do with being stressed out or having a lot of adrenaline because of excitement. It's something completely different. So this state in the middle is energetic in that positive way and is also centered and immovable in another way, but it's really, it has the quality of stillness and the quality of action or strength, but it's not about being scattered and restless, nor is it about being sleepy or depressed. So developing that kind of mind is what I think is meant by the development of citta as being one of the four things that supports our success in our resolutions that we make. And then the last one is called vimamsa. That's called investigation or discrimination. And in particular, in the context of making resolutions, it seems to me that having an intelligent awareness of causality and thinking about what factors are supportive to being successful with a determination and what factors would be undermining, and thinking about what we can do to favor developing the supportive factors and to favor removing the negative or obstructive factors. So again, my theme for the discussion is wanting to know if you thought about making a resolution that was going to be a big flop and come to nothing, what went wrong? You didn't really make a commitment in the beginning. You didn't have the chanda. You just gave it lip service. Or you didn't make any effort about it. You didn't arouse energy. Or you didn't bring the special way of knowing that comes from the meditative mind. Or you didn't use your intelligence to investigate, especially in terms of causality. I'm going to invite Ayata Taloka to improve on my talk by making further comments about it. And then after that, I'm going to invite anybody to mention what their personal adhitthana is and how they think they can make their adhitthana or their resolution successful.
Thank you, Ai. So I didn't realize that you were going to ask me to improve on your talk, so I wasn't thinking of any way to do that. Maybe others might have some idea about that. I was just reflecting though on the Buddha's own like recommendations for aditan. The overlap, there's some overlap there with what you just shared. Particularly, I was thinking about the determination to truth and the relationship that there is, that aditan, satya, aditan, determination for truth, and also a strong connection with like courage, virya, as you were mentioning, and
Did you mute your computer?
I can't hear.
Did you mute your computer?
My computer is. Okay.
Thank you.
okay. How about now? So then I was thinking about the connection between then the aditan that the Buddha spoke about and recommended. That for some of you, you've probably heard or read our Dhammadharini community sharing over past years, especially around the January 1st and around the New Year. Then we often share the Buddha's own resolutions that he taught and recommended at that time, with the first one being the satya aditan, and making a strong determination or resolution with regards to truth and truthfulness. So I was just reflecting for these faculties and powers that you were mentioning, Ayasobana, the relationship between them, and how to be devoted and to have a dedication to truth, and how the virya becomes so important, not only as strength, but I think virya has a quality of bravery and courageousness, which is really like important to bring forth in our practice, especially when we're working with determinations and resolutions. And even the Buddha mentioned, and also others in watching the Buddha, or some of the great disciples of the Buddha often used like the words of being like lion-hearted. So what does it mean to be lion-hearted? To like make your lions roar, yes? Or like a lion that's breaking free from its cage, or has broken free from its cage. So that kind of quality, just thinking about it, and then bringing that kind of heart quality to our determinations, our dedications, and our resolutions with regards to the virya. And I know I'd say in our culture, in our society, to have the aditan of truthfulness and be dedicated to truth, and it really needs that kind of quality of courage, courageousness, and bravery, and we can even say valiance. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard there was a linguistic connection between valiance and virya. Some people just translate virya as like masculine strength, and I think that's kind of missing the mark in a way. But if that's your only connection with like bravery and courage, then okay, can use that, but then you have to get past the sex or gender-based limitations of the concept, and just open that up for everybody, because the Buddha was obviously not just teaching about these qualities for just the liberation of those who had been warriors, or who were part of the warrior caste, or that kind of thing. So it's not just being used in that kind of way. And we know everybody has at least latent in themselves, this valiant heart, this heart of bravery and courage, and the lion's roar that Buddha himself used with regards to his great awakened leading female disciples. So we have very direct examples that show the Buddha himself is not using these terms in gender-bound ways, maybe even specifically using these terms in ways that are not gender-bound. Just wanted to mention that. But I think in English, bravery, courage, valiance, we don't think about as being limited in these kinds of ways, hopefully. The other reflection was about jaga, because this word is in both lists, just as jaga. Many of us are more familiar with the aspect of dana. So jaga, to be great-hearted, also it means to be great-hearted, beneficence, liberality, generosity, to be like unfailing in having a generous, broad-minded, broad-hearted way of like meeting the circumstances and responding to the circumstances. So we just recognize that jaga, you mentioned, is there amongst the powers, and it's also on the Buddha's own short list of adhitthans, the determinations or resolutions, the determinations and resolutions that he himself worked with effectively, and then was also highly recommending to others. And we can see then the connection in terms of heart quality. I know for myself, even like feeling the heart while talking and talking about this kind of courage and bravery and dedication to truth, and talking about this kind of liberality, broad-mindedness, and generosity, I feel a similar kind of, something is very similar about the patterning there. These things have a lot in common. They are very close kin. It's almost like they're like different facets of the same jewel in a way, or the same heart. It's just like, calling out a slightly different aspect of this kind of quality of heart, which, as Ayasobana was saying, when we develop and cultivate such mental states, then these are ones that really can be a great support and can lead to our success in this path of practice. So mental states that are great resources to turn to. If we have a garden and then we grow beautiful flowers and fruits in it, then all those efforts then of the cultivation and development come in the fruits and the harvest. And then we want to go to get something that's of good nutriment for ourselves or to share. It's just right there in our garden because we have cultivated and developed that already. So we have ready access to it. So these are the great heart qualities, the qualities of the great heart, and to be great-minded, to cultivate and develop, that we have ready access to them, or we gain fluency in these qualities. We turn to them again and again and again, such that they're like fast and ready and easy, and we're comfortable and familiar with them. And then we often define people by these kinds of mental states. We say, oh, that person's so narrow-minded. Or wow, they are like really, they have a great heart. They are so broad-minded, right? And so cultivating and developing these, and of course for Chittanupasana, then these are two of the main factors that the Buddha is asking us to look out for in terms of our own mental states, and then work with, reducing or the like narrow-mindedness or contracted mind, or like low, grungy, contracted, and then to develop these great-hearted states of the great mind. So for that short list of the Buddha's own adhitthans, there's the dedication to truth, and jaghang anubruheya, then so satya, jaga, This is what I wanted her to do. I thought she has the technology at hand to be able to bring this up. Yes. And when we're talking about,
Panya,
yes,
Jaga, Sacha,
yes,
Jaga, Upasama.
Upasama. So then also when we're talking about Vimamsa that Sobhana mentioned, then the Vimamsa has a very, very close connection with Panya and wisdom, has a close connection with insight, knowledge, because doing that work of discernment and developing our power of our heart and mind to be like turning towards being discerning or looking into things, opening them up, clarifying them, then also being able to see and understand the causation. Then this part, this insight, this wisdom is actually essential for being able to work effectively with the noble truths. And this insight, this wisdom is actually an essential aspect of the right view, even, which is at the core and heart, as well as the top of the Noble Eightfold Path. And I said at the core as well as at the top, because according to the Buddha's teaching, then when we look at like these Dhamma wheels here, if we were looking at the Eightfold Path as a Dhamma wheel, then that Ditti, Micca Ditti or Samma Ditti, Micca Ditti, if it's there, if it's wrong views, then that goes right there. It just flows right into, it's the root then of our, what would say are our wrong or harmful or ineffective, unwise intentions, speech, actions, livelihood. Even we can wrongly apply ourselves in our meditation. And then out of that comes more wrong views, right? As the wheel of samsara turns. But with vimamsa quality and working with really like looking into the phenomenon, causation, clarifying, discerning, then together with mindfulness, that gives us the, let's say like the handle in a way, or like the access point to be able to engage the Dhamma wheel. And then to be able to make right effort. And for the 4 qualities of right effort that I was speaking about in the Dhamma talk last night, the 4 bases for right effort, you know, you need to have that to even be able to see what these are. Otherwise, it's just like in theory, yeah, of course, I want to bring up the excellent states and qualities that are going to be helpful for my well-being and meditation, and liberation. But what are they? You know, how to access that, how to engage it. I want to make right effort, but what is that? And so then these qualities, really working with them and developing them. When you look at causation, it's like if the causes haven't been, if the supportive conditions haven't been developed, you want to do something, but you just like you can't. You don't know how, you don't know where to start, you don't know what's useful. And so here we're talking about then developing the causal conditions or conditional causes that lay the groundwork for being able to see for ourselves and then being able to engage effectively with this path work. So if you want to do something and you're not able to, then the wise question is really, okay, what do I need to do to get there? Like Sobhana was talking about people going to the gym and they want to do that maybe because they want to look better or be stronger. And, you know, you want to pick up something really heavy, but you don't have the muscles, you don't have the bodily training for it. And it's like, that's nice. But you try to do that, you'll get injured. Or you won't even try at all because you know you're not strong enough. But then if you want to be strong enough to do something like that, then maybe you make a resolution to train yourself physically. And then, yeah, somebody needs something lifted, can do, because you've developed in that way. Yeah. And And we know for that kind of thing also, especially now, like I think my age, I'm seeing people around my age, weekend warriors, and like to come volunteer. And they used to be fine. They could just come on the weekend and volunteer, but now they just get out from behind their desk and their computer on the weekend over 50, or even in their late 40s, and they want to do some great heavy work at the Hermitage volunteering. They have a good heart to do it, but then get injured. Why? They used to be strong, but now after 10, 20 years of sitting on their desk behind their computer most of the time, and the doctor says to them, desk jockey, weekend warrior syndrome, you can't do that anymore at this age unless you start doing some more regular exercise and training. You can't just also, even you develop the things before and you were able to do them, but if you didn't keep up with them. Ayakema was famous for like mentioning this point over and again, because people would join retreats with her and then they would get these amazing exalted states during the retreats, and then they would expect to be able to keep that forever. Maybe some aspect of the insight they are perhaps able to keep forever. But then if they go and it's like they don't keep up with the meditation practice, and they don't keep up with looking at things in a discerning way and continuing with that, then this is the nature of causation. It doesn't all just stay the same. It's not just like you develop it and then, I know things I learned in grade school, right? I passed my test with an A or an A+, and now somebody asked me about it, and wow, I don't remember how to do that anymore. I didn't do it in a long time, years and years. I didn't do it, and it's the things don't all just last. And so if we haven't been keeping up with it, then we need to do some work to develop. We may still have some foundation there from it, or we may have better understanding how to develop it because we've done it before, and we know how to do it and what can be done, so we can come back to the things much faster. We can bring the things live again for ourselves much faster than people who are just completely clueless and never had any experience like that, or never learned these things before. Sometimes an insight that you have, it's like it's not really live, but you turn your mind to it again, and then you start to open it up again, and you remember, and then even you can understand more. But you might not just immediately have it on hand if you haven't thought about it or remembered or looked into it for a long time. So for the Vimamsa, then, what we've done before, to come back to it again, and further open the things up for introspection, investigation, contemplation, the insights and realizations that we have, even just asking ourselves, sometimes we have wisdom, but it's not accessible until we think about it and until we turn our minds to it and we just think, like, what is the wise way to see this? Not just whatever happens to be arising habitually, but actually pausing for a minute and thinking, like, what do I really know deeply about this with my wisdom and the insight that I have, or what I've seen that I recognized as wisdom in other people? And then it comes to be accessible. Just from that, our faculties will then go and bring up those memories, what's already there. But if we don't engage in that process, or we don't have a determination to remember, an active determination to remember and turn to the wise, turn to the wisdom, to be further developing and cultivating, activating and applying that wisdom. If we don't have that, then our habit energy may be just going on like helele. This is Korean. What does helele mean? Just helele. How to explain, right? But anyway, it's just haphazard, really. just wherever your habits happen to go. You're just like wandering around. You think like someone came here with their dog and it's like, is it okay to let the dog run around? And then the dog is just like running around, sniffing here and there, everything, any sound, the dog is going for that, any smell, the dog is going for that. Anyway, running around happy, wagging his tail and this kind of thing. But it's like there's not much of a deep underlying sense of purpose and dedication that's active there. It's more like just whatever sound, smell, especially whatever smell, whatever thing, just catches your senses, then you're just like going with your habits with that. So like not just that. We'd say that's like the boat without a rudder, or without a car without a wheel. So, okay, you'll just get in your car and you'll just put your foot on the gas, and then no wheel, right? And then what? Wait, do I have brakes? If I don't have a wheel, at least I need brakes. Stop. I need a wheel before I'm going to do that. So we're talking here then about steerage, really, and taking the wheel into our hands and using it. And until we have a sense of the wheel in our hands, we bring up that mindfulness. And also, you hope you at least have brakes. It's like not just your foot on the gas, and then wherever that car goes, according to conditions, goes into a ditch. Okay, I'm going to experience going into the ditch, crashes into a tree. Okay, I'll experience crashing into a tree. Runs over people. That's just the conditions, right? It's just foot on the gas and no steerage. Then these are the things that happen with a car out of control. So really aware of the gas and the brakes, and placing the wheel in our hands and looking at the wheel and then the wise steerage. So I'm getting the signal that this is the time now for me to pause. I don't know if this, I didn't think that this would improve on Ayasobana's talk, but just some reflections that were arising with regards to the Buddha's own adhitthans, resolutions and determinations, and their connection with what the Dhamma that Ayasobana, Venerable Bhikkhuni Sobhana, was sharing. Thank you, Ay.
Thank you. I'd like to invite anybody online or anybody in the room.
Can you unmute?
Oh, thank you. Unmute myself. I'd like to invite anybody who is in our cyberspace room. If you would like to share, and anybody who's here, if there's a resolution or an adhitthana that you have in your heart to undertake, and if you are able to see what could support my success with this, or what is the danger that I'm wanting to be sure to avoid. So either or both, like what a resolution you see for yourself, what supportive factor seems like you can get a hold of and use for your success, or what danger you're trying to avoid to protect your resolution. And those in the room as well can share. We'll just have to be a little patient with the microphone to make sure that we or have everybody can be heard. So anybody in our Zoom class has something to share? Regina.
Okay, I'm going to try. My resolution will be I would like to deepen my Satipatthana practice. And 3 months seem to be really, really long for me to carry a resolution. So I think it will be supporting to continue with the meetings with you guys. And hopefully that will strengthen me a little bit from the outside. From the inside, I do think I have a routine set up in my day that would definitely support my resolution. And also what I just heard, these 4 steps. I'll definitely try to pay attention to these. Thank you for listening.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. What a wonderful resolution. We all want you to be successful. No, she's not.
Can you
So I have to.
just me?
Is we all have our own individual aspiration and interest and dedication. But in the context of Sangha, one of the things that's really supportive about it is being with people who also have their interest, their resolution, their dedication. There's a way even that, like, hearing that together, the Buddha recommended for the monastics, if the bhikkhus or bhikkhunis are gathered together in a place for the vasa, then to hear one another's vasa aditan. And so there's a way, not only in the time of entering vasa or that this period, of course, but this is a time of year then that the Buddha recommended for making an aditan individually and collectively as communities together, even if there are only 2 or 3 together, or even a larger number, several hundred, or some of these ancient monasteries, more than 1,000 practicing together. But it lends a certain power to it when others hear us and see us and know us and also acknowledge and appreciate this. And that's why I was saying sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So not only for bhikkhus and bhikkhunis for their dedication and resolution, but really for all of us in appreciation. So I'd just like to invite everyone, as they're listening to others' resolutions, to really think about holding and supporting and appreciating that. And just, these things, there's so much, they're just mental. I mean, they're led by the mind, they're led by the heart, individually and in our interrelationships with one another. And if a relationship is undermining of our dedications, or like not seeing, not knowing, not appreciating, then that can be not helpful. But what is helpful, really, like seeing, knowing, appreciating, and thoughts of mental states and heart of support for one another. These things are really, really big in human life. So not in complete exterior focus, absolutely not, but not only a completely interior focus either. Both parts, really holding our own resolve with integrity and dedication and these qualities, and then also likewise really like looking at and thinking about hearing, appreciating the others who are also voicing their dedications in this kind of way, and thinking about holding these resolutions together.
Okay. Thank you, A. Thank you, Regina. In the next 10 minutes.
Your mic is on.
Sorry?
Your mic's on.
I'm unmuted, yes.
Great.
In the next 10 minutes, who would like to mention a resolution or a determination, a wish that they have that they're holding in their heart? I'm including those in the room, looking at the person who's arrived recently to stay and the person who was here before who's departing. Do you have anything that you'd like to say? Okay, Deb, can you give Deb a microphone? Is it turned on?
Deb, you may need to
Turn it
put
on?
the switch on it. Oh,
Hit the switch.
Okay. So briefly, the routine that I've been living here, I still have that in my phone and it will not leave my phone. And so I will awaken with you all. And I won't be chanting in Pali yet, but I will definitely be meditating longer and every morning with you all. And it's beyond virtual.
Great.
sadhu,
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 sadhu.
sadhu.
Karina, would you like to add something?
We're gonna.
Those who are in the monastic line here, we're going to call on you also.
I think I might have seen at the end of class.
Is it on? Yes, good. Okay. I thought about, what would be supportive, and it was actually something I wanted to do for a long time, which is just to have a practice day at home with my friends. There's this women's group that I'm a part of, and we haven't practiced together. We've gone to retreats together, but we haven't practiced on our own. So just to host something in my house, and especially now with the pandemic and the Zoom retreats, you really see, oh yeah, the house can actually, I have a great place I can walk, and actually several places I think I could fill more people to walk, do walking meditation. And by far the most, I think what would help the most, I thought about, the idea of success and not success. I think especially in worldly terms, there's like if you don't succeed, it's like a failure. It's like it's a bad thing. And I thought what would be helpful is idea of curiosity more than anything. I don't know where that would fit into four necessarily, maybe the investigation, but it's this continuous curiosity. Why it works, why it doesn't work, what worked, old worked better, and just as opposed to did I succeed or did I fail? That's
Thank you. Sadhu.
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 Would you like to call on one of the monastics?
I'm just looking at the screen. Why don't I go to Sophie, and then we can go around the circle of the monastics. And I'm watching the screen, and if one of you emerges out of your invisibility, then I'll see you. Otherwise, we'll go ahead with those who are in this room. Oh, it's Sophie.
Hello.
Hi, Sophie.
Hi.
Glad to have you back.
Oh, thank you. Something that's been emerging for me in the past couple of days, inspired by some of the talks, and just what kept coming back to my mind is this idea of being with, just the practice of being with something without adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, proliferating, just being with something just as it is, as a way of knowing something, to not cloud myself in judgment or criticism at how things should be, how I should be, how this experience should be, how I should be developing, but just really go down to the bare mental state of what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And something that helped me in the forest to remember something, it was quite trivial. Well, it wasn't trivial. It was to remember a walkie-talkie, which was not trivial at all. It's quite important. But something I did was use a specific point in space, so like the bridge nearby the garden, that every time I walked the bridge, I would have the thought, walkie-talkie. So that every time I went, I put that association there in my physical space. So one of the ideas I have is wherever I am, just pick a spot, at least start with one spot, and then every time I walk through that space, just ask myself, what's going on right now?
Yeah.
So
That's it.
that's what I have.
Wonderful. Shall we start with the white and then the red, or vice versa? Okay.
You could mix it up. You don't have to go in a line back and forth. Camera pointing, microphone.
All right. Okay. So I guess the only determination I have is to actually survive the 3 months. You know, I'm a guest here in the community. I'm not going to be day-to-day part of the community and doing, you guys do a lot of work, and there's lots of stuff that you need to do to maintain these things. And I'm going to be basically by myself up on the mountain, and you know, once or twice a day I'll come down for food and get things and bother you all with questions and things like that. But you know, this is doing a period of time where you're mostly by yourself and away from a lot of your distractions is never an easy thing. When I lived at Bhavana, we had you know, our Katina, our Vasa period was always very busy, retreats and such, and so there was never like, I'm going to be secluded during Vasa, but we would have a winter retreat. And so for a whole month, I would try to practice only seeing people during my meals and not talking to people and all these kind of things. And for the most part, that was okay. That worked out, where I actually had very little contact. And the mind, during that period of time, a month can feel like such a long time, right? When you're just alone with your mind. And so, you know, I've got a little taste of it. I was up in the campsite for the last 10 days, and I've watched my mind go between, oh, this is amazing, to, I need to get the heck out of here right now. Right? And that's the wacky mind states that happen. You know, I've never done a longer period yet. So this is so like I said, I've done a month, and you know, I've made it in those past. And so my only adhitthana is to make it to the end, right? And I know to make it to the end, I'm going to have to do certain things like a lot of letting go, you know, trying to do more practice and things like that. So all of that is kind of the natural consequence for me of the adhitthana of, let me make it to the 3 months without having to run away from the hermitage, these kind of things. So that's mine.
Thank you. Thank you, Ante. You know, in a way, you are so mature in practice, and Sophie is very mature for her age, but Sophie is a younger person. And I really adore the subtlety and the you know, simplicity of just whatever it is, making that good enough and making that to be aware of. And it's almost exactly the same what you said, is whatever happens, doing this retreat, wherever the mind state is, whatever you experience, there's nothing that's not all right as long as you stay with it.
Exactly. And also, like what I've noticed is the mind wants to think 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, right? And I say, no, just think about today, just today. So it's really kind of forcing you to actually live in the day, where we mostly don't do that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really forcing you to stay in that day. So,
very good.
Yeah.
Who's next?
So I've been noticing the difference of, after so long with the pandemic, actually to have Vasa and have incoming people and have monastics coming to stay with us for this Vasa time. And this is my third Vasa with Dhammadharini, but my second when we actually have incoming people, because last year we didn't. And it's an interesting thing in monastic life to have suddenly all of these like strangers moving into your house with you and what it's like to then try to sort of regain harmony and a routine with different people, and often very different backgrounds and different cultures and different ages. And I have not always been equanimous with that. So just really looking this year at, it feels like you always eventually achieve that harmony with the group of people for the most part, and just kind of looking for those opportunities for harmony from the beginning, and kind of going into it with that mindset and keeping my equanimity as I work through that.
Put your microphone wipes and then press it on.
Why don't we pass the microphone and the wipes at the same time? I just wipes the board. That's great. Thank you very much. All the gear there. Ice pack.
So my mind is slowed way down, and I'm wanting my body and my activity level to catch up with my mind, to slow way down. And so I really just want to deepen my practice of being with my mind and being with my body. Because I'm ill, my body is kind of at center stage. So I can't say that I'm just going to focus on the mind, because of course it goes back between the mind and the body all the time, naturally. But I just want to be able to slow down and have an integrated practice of being in the present with whatever needs to be taken care of, or whatever is there to observe or work with in a skillful way.
Sadhu. Passing to Aya Suchita.
Can the wipes not be reused? Should be a new wipe each time.
When I was Mahayana nun in our life in a year, we have 2 times Vasa. One is the summertime, one is the winter retreat. So from the normal daily bhikkhunis life, we really need determination to 3 months, because of our tradition. Retreat is very, very strict. So going to the deep mountain, and then we never contact with anybody, just be there with maybe 15 nuns all together. All the same discipline, same rule. We shared all the same things. So you need very patience, and then sometimes suffering. But now when I come into the Dhammadharini as a Theravada Bhikkhuni, it was almost 4 years now. And then after a few months later, I get into the winter retreat. At that time, I should have a determination for the whole my life determination, like So now I have a life determination for the devoted into Dhammadharini, because of the this Dhammadharini life is so different than what I was, and they need my help. I do not doing many things, but I realize our communion needs help. What kind of help there is, I'm ready to help. And then I don't need a specific retreat because of my mind already set up to every day is my retreat time. So whenever I need, I can get into my own retreat. So I'm very happy to help everybody to having a very peaceful time. And then I will still going on until I leave, where I'm going to die. So this is very comfortable, and then it doesn't need a very strong mind. I just determined very happily, and still I'm living in happiness. Thank you so much.
Sadhu.
You're the one who originally gave the idea, Chittanupasana, for this vasa. Okay.
I'd like to invite Kachayana to let us know what your adhitthana is.
Should I look to confide in a chair?
You can turn the camera.
I don't know, I'm always a little puzzled to say what sort of special resolution I might have, because it seems like it's just the same thing. You know, I've already gone forth into monastic life. I did that for a reason. And what I want to do for the Vasa is continue with that, basically. So is there any special something for this Vasa in particular, as opposed to just keeping on with the path as best I can? I don't know. Well, I was actually thinking when Ayatollah was speaking about the four adhitthanas recommended by the Buddha, the one that was resonating with me was Satcha, truth. And I think that is something I've actually been trying to work with regularly since the time of our winter retreat. We had the winter retreat time teachings from Ayya Khema, and one of the points she was making at one point that was inspiring to me, something that I felt I needed to work with, was she was giving a teaching on the Metta Sutta, and one of the terms in the Metta Sutta is straightforwardness or uprightness. And for myself, I felt that that there were some ways in which that was missing. You know, I tried to be honest, but there are ways in which I'm not honest with myself, in which I was like trying to smooth things over socially, and you know, you have to do all these little things to just like sweep it under the rug a little bit. Not major lies or anything, but just a little bit of a hiding and like not fully inhabiting the truth of the way things are. And so since that time, I've been trying to work with that. And if that's one of the Buddha's recommendations for adhitthana, I wish to continue with that during this Vasa and going forward, not just for this Vasa.
We're coming up to the.
May I have time?
Yes, Haya. We're coming close to the time that's allotted for this session, but we haven't heard Ayatolah's determination nor my determination. So invite you to give those. And if you will be patient enough to stay after this conversation, we're going to go right into giving a bit of joyful chanting. So That's coming up.
Joyful chanting and talk about Pindapat if we can.
I know.
Let me know when I'm on. Yeah. Okay.
Be last because my thoughts are maybe very simple, plain, and perhaps boring. Nothing especially exciting. My own determination and resolution, my adhitan for this vasa is to be working with, cultivating, applying myself to, and developing Chittanupasana. With regards especially to the second and third noble truths, the causation and arising of dukkha and the cessation of dukkha, dukkha nirodha, shining special light or giving special attention to the abandoning of tanha, of the three kinds of working with three kinds of tanha, or the abandoning of craving is the phrasing that, what's the phrasing that you gave to the sign? Is it the abandoning of craving or?
Letting go.
Letting go of craving. Thank you very much. So with special attention and care to the letting go of craving. So whatever the various things are that are to be cared for, to be done in my role as preceptor with regards to those who we hope who are aspiring to undertake anagarika precepts or seminary papaja or full bhikkhuni upasampada ordination, just everything, all the circumstances, also drought, fire season, everything, just in these regards, to be working with all the internal and external phenomena in these regards. Chittanupasana, looking at the second and third noble truths, arising and cessation of suffering, and for the letting go of craving.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Luckily, I was speaking my mind, so I don't need to say anything. The letting go of craving was my adhitana. For the section on chanting, it would be good if the microphone could go onto this camera so that it will pick up the ambient sound. And I request us to chant the Jaya Parita down to the Dukkha Pata, chanting one verse and then pausing. And then one person will read out the meaning in English. Mahakaruniko Nato, starting there. And so then I hope that for those who don't know Pali, hearing the English meaning will make it deeper. And for those of us who do know Pali but don't always remember, it's just syllables. Mahakaruniko Nato, it can become more meaningful if the meaning comes to us in English also. So this is how many books we have.
Do you have it to go on screen for those who are joining us?
No, that's what we're saying in English.
I can give up my book to someone who would like to have.
Page 23.
We will start with Namo Tassa. Who is the chanting leader?
Good question. Are you willing to be the chanting leader? And I'll read off the English.
What?
At the end of each sentence, when you see the period, stop, pause for the English.
I'm not sure. I don't know what period you mean.
You don't know.
Some of them have periods. Some of them have.
They're small and
clear.
hard to see.
Well, whenever you feel like you've done enough, pause, and then I'll read the English.
Every 4 lines, maybe?
I was thinking.
Not quite. It's like every 6 lines.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think, does anyone have a pencil or a pen? I can just mark it right now. Thank you. Karunikona hitaya sabapaninang kuretua paramisamba pato sambodhi mutama. Yatena sajwachim, otute jaya mankala. Janto bodhi amule sakyana nantiwatano. Ewang tuang vijayo, hohi jayasu jaya mankale.
So every 2 lines?
Parajita palanke sise patawi pokare. Abhiseke sapaputanam agapato pamodati. Sunaka tan sumankalang supapatan suhipitam. This part is actually combined. Sukano sumuhutocha suyitam kamachari su. Padakinang kaya kamang wachakamang padakinang manokamang panidite padakinani katuana padakine. Then stop there, and then we go to the Sabhe Buddha Balapata Ajeka Balang.
Oh, but I wanted to chant the Yanduri Mitam.
You want to chant the Yanduri Mitam?
Especially because I'm so concerned. The Yanduri Mitam gives us protection from unlucky signs, bad dreams, evil planets, things that are undesired, the sound of birds, which is not pleading, bad dreams, unlucky things. The world is, worried about, we're feeling very unlucky right now, right? So we want to shoo away, make all that bad luck, blow it away.
Okay.
So
that has 3 sections to it.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to
Dukkapata.
Sabhe Buddha, Dukkha Pata. Wow, okay. Right, Dukkha Pata, Chani Dukkha, Baya Pata, Chani Baya Sukha Pata, Chani Sukha, Hotu Sabhe Titanimo. Ita Tajan, Sampadam, Sabhe Devana, Saba Sampati Sikya, and Angadam Samulana, and Bhavana Virataka, Chanti Pataka. Okay, that has 4 sections.
Okay.
Good there?
Yeah. That's all I needed.
There you go. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
You can start leading with the Namo Tassa.
Please be sure to get this back from me. Okay.
Namo tassa
Bhagavato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa Bhagavato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa.
Mahakaruniko nato
Hitaya Sabakaminam Uretva Paramisabha Ato Samodhimotama. The Lord greatly compassionate for the welfare of all living beings, having fulfilled all the perfections attained by himself, the highest Bodhi. Ekena Sachawajena Otute Jayamangalam. By speaking this truth, may you be blessed with victory.
Jayanto Bodhiyamole Sadhyananandhivatano Evam Toham Vijayo Bodhi Jaya Sujaya Mangale.
He who increases of victory in the undefeated also. May you win the blessing of victory.
Aparajita palange sise padavi bhokare atisete sabhabhutana agapato hamodati.
In the undefeated posture upon the exalted holy place, having the concentration of all the Buddhas, he rejoices in the best attainment.
Sunatatan sumangalam subhavatam subhutitam sukano sumokotosha suritam brahmacharisu.
Lucky stars, lucky blessings, a lucky dawn, a lucky sacrifice, a lucky instant, a lucky moment when we're given all things.
Just she recited English, but we didn't.
Okay, go ahead. Just continue chanting. We'll give an our thanks to the Brahmacharis.
Just chant through. Yeah. Padakina kaya kamma vacha kamma padakina mano kamma panite padakina bhagavanata panchate padakine.
When body karma is righteous, and righteous is verbal karma. When mental karma is righteous, righteous are their aspirations. These righteousness having been done, one gains the goal by righteousness. So, okay, yes, Yandunimitam, page 25. Yandunimitam avamangalancha yachamanapo sakuna sasato amagaho tusapina makantam Udalupavena vinasamentu. Whatever lucky signs and inauspiciousness and the sound of birds, which are not pleasing, evil planets, bad dreams, undesired, by the Buddha's power, may they be destroyed. Yandunimitam Yochamanapo sakuna sasato papagahotu subina akantam dhamma yupavena vinasamentu. Whatever unlucky signs and inauspiciousness and the sound of birds which is not pleasing, evil planets, bad dreams, undesired, by the Dhamma's power, may they be destroyed. Yandunimitam avamangalancha Yochamanapo sapuna sasanto Papangahotu supinam ahantam Sampahanughavena vinasametu. Whatever unlucky signs and inauspiciousness and the sound of birds which is not pleasing, evil planets, bad dreams, undesired by the Sanga's power, may they be destroyed. Dukkha Pata Chani Dukkha Bhaya Chani Bhaya Sukha Pata Chani Sukha Ontu Sabhe Vipanino. May those with suffering be free from suffering. May those with fear be free from fear. May those with grief be free from grief. So too may all beings be. Etta Pata Shahambe Sampatan Punya Sampadan Sabbe Deva Numodantu Gata Sampati Siddhya. To the extent that by us punya, merit, has been attained and collected, may all devas rejoice and share it for the attainment of all fortune. Dhanam dhanantu sadhaya siddham rakantu sabada bhavanamvirata untu kachantu devajata. By faith should gifts be given. Virtue should always be protected. Delightful should meditation be. Thus, go to the state of a devata. Sabbe mundara by all the Buddhas attained to power, by the power of the solitary ones, and by the glory of the Arahants. For such power, I bind protection everywhere. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So may all of us be protected, and may our good adhitanas be protected. May all of us be able to achieve the highest of our aspirations. This is the end of our formal program. I just want to check, is there an announcement that I should make now?
Now is the time to announce about what we're going to be offering upcoming for the Lhasa.
In terms of the
People being able to join and participate.
Would you like to speak it?
You're welcome to.
Well, during this Vasa, through our website, you could find out about opportunities to visit the Sangha, participate in offering meals or offering groceries or something like that. If you like to resume having a regular connection as well, watch out for announcements about the regular Sunday programs being offered as a mixed medium thing where we can be outside and you can be in person as well as staying at home in the comfort of your and safety of your space there and coming in by Zoom. It's very possible on short notice to visit the monastery, and with an advance appointment, I think there are possibilities for coming to visit those who are staying out at the Hermitage. We are planning to have an ordination, if all factors continue to be supportive, during September, possibly. Do you remember the date, Daya?
Yes, September 17th and 18th.
Um,
Sorry, September 18th and 19th.
September 18th and 19th. If we're not on fire, we will be having a beautiful, inspiring, and historical ceremony of the first bhikkhuni ordination ceremony and other ceremonies since emerging from our pandemic. I guess that's historical enough, as the case may be. So thank you for your sharing.
Oh.
You gotta.
Sadhu. So also I've been invited, as I did during the last winter retreat, to offer an Uposatha Dhamma program for all of those who would like for their Vasa time resolution to make the commitment, whether you're making a commitment to practice every day and it's a support for you to come together with the Sangha every 2 weeks on the new moon and full moon, or whether you would just like to even just to make the resolution to have the new moon and the full moon 2 days of the month be your time especially dedicated to reading, listening to, contemplating the Dhamma and meditating, then I'll be offering an Uposatha program on the new moon and the full moon throughout the Vasa. So this will be 6 times, six programs. And everyone who feels that this would be a real benefit and support for them to take the commitment to join in this Uposatha program is invited and welcome to do so. You don't have to commit to all 6, but just if you're making a practice dedication and commitment during this time, and you feel like coming together in that way would be a support for you, then you're very welcome to join in that together.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. With that, thank you for your participation, for your patient listening today, and for those who come very often, thank you for your continued participation, which is so important to creating and sustaining this beautiful Dhamma.